6 minutes left. Still, both sides could win this.
Absolutely perfect. Das Bauwolf kommt rein, 2 MGs, Peekaboo, Cribabble. Es ist ein Gemetzel.
Look at the carnage! My goodness!
Hello, welcome, and thank you again for joining me, Garfnix, for another banger here on the HCA, the Hell Let Loose Competitive Association? I'm going to get beaten up for not getting that correct. Welcome back, though. We're on Utah Beach. We've got, as I say, a good game for you tonight. Hopefully, this is going to be quite a tight one. We've got two teams here in Garry's OnlyFans and Void versus 82AD that should be fairly evenly matched, I hope. So fingers crossed it goes the distance tonight. We'll get into a little bit of the history between these two teams in a moment. It hasn't always gone the distance before between these two and on this map in particular. But before we get started, let me just say that we are, as always, on a 30-minute delay. So if there's any problems at all with the stream, let me know in the chat. But it could be up to 30 minutes until we get it sorted out. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Hopefully it will get changed back to 15 minutes at some point. 30 minutes, in my opinion, is just unnecessary. But that's a conversation for another time, perhaps. If you want to get into a conversation like that, why don't you go and watch the recapping from last Friday? It's below in the videos on the channel. Make sure you also check out a whole bunch of the games that are on concurrently with this. Open up No Connection stream or Douse Outberg stream to check out that wicked game between What the Hell and Core, which should be a real classic. And I'm not sure when the Remagen game is with Trigger versus Raptors DC. That could be now. It might have already happened just a bit earlier, but make sure you check that game out as well. Plus all the minors, a whole weekend's worth of awesome HCA content. And there's ECL games as well. And yeah, just so much Hell Let Loose comp at the moment. It's unbelievable. Right, so we're nearly ready to get kicked off if 82AD ever give me the password for this server. But before we do, let's have a little look at the scoreboard. And Goth Void had their bye week last week, so they didn't play. They are tied in 8th with 82AD, so you can see these two teams got a lot to play for. Games played, you can see Goth and Void is on 3 at the moment, so this is them kind of playing their 4th and 82AD playing their 5th. So if Goth win this one, then that will bump them up the table fairly considerably, because all those other teams above them on games played 4 will obviously be on 5 next week. If you're interested in the movements on the table, as I say, go check out the recapping. It was only me, not No Connection, just Friday just gone, but I tried my best. Hopefully it's an okay show for you. It certainly describes what's happened in terms of the placings here in the HCA majors. But yeah, as I mentioned before, on this map, Utah Beach, which is an absolute Hell Let Loose comp classic at this point, these two teams have played 2 times before, once I believe in May and once again in June, although I'm not sure whether Void was with Goth on either of those occasions, but still, Goth coming out on top on both of those occasions. They played Axis and Allies, both didn't go the distance as well, both 5-0 to Goth. The time when 82AD played the Allies, as they are in the game tonight, was over in just 49 minutes. The time when 82AD played the Axis, it was over in 50 minutes. So 82 AD with a lot to prove here. Coming just off the back as well of a bit of a rough defeat to Core. It kind of an inevitable loss maybe, but is what it is. It's Core. So they'll definitely be wanting to come into this one and get a win. And they could. They definitely could here. Goth and Void, obviously, maybe a bit rusty from not having a game in HCA last week. Could be well rested. Don't know. Depends how they deal with their bye weeks. But certainly could be an even matchup. But we'll wait and see. Let's get into the strat sketch real quick. Hopefully, I'll get the password at some time soon. It looks like Goth and Void still haven't been given the password either, so I'm not alone in this one. If any of the representatives from any teams are playing this, please can you give people the password sooner rather than later, because it does make everything like a mad rush right at the last minute. For me, myself, I've got 2 PCs trying to log in and talk to everybody at the same time. So in the interest of just making everything run smooth, I don't want to spy on you. I just want to be logged in so I can do all this stuff, talking to the camera and blah, blah, blah. And I don't have to worry about constantly checking Discord to find the password. So, that's my little gripe at the start here. But let's talk about the map. So we're going to be watching Garry's OnlyFans and Void in blue tonight as the axis. I always do it this way around. There's no favoritism going on. I know I've played or casted games now with 82 AD. I think this is my 3rd one with them as the allies, so they'll be in red. It's I'm not casting any dispersions. I just always, if I can, try and cast on the side of the Germans, because then I don't get mixed up. I could just go into autopilot and I just see a blue person and I say the Germans. So no hard feelings about 82 AD being in red, but they are in red tonight. On the right hand side of the map, you can see I've drawn in their their HQ line. Their deployment obviously happens on the right hand side here, and on the left of this blue line is where the Germans, the Goth and Void deployment will happen. Let's just quickly get into talking about the points real quick. So when we're talking about Utah, the first point of interest is obviously the chapel. In terms of its position in the map, it's obviously giving a slight advantage there to the allies. So let's just kind of draw this sector square in, and you can see how far over into F column here it is. So it does obviously favour the allies. They're able to get there first, get their trucks moved up this ditch and through the field this way, possibly into the barbed wire at the back of the point, maybe as well get somebody kind of into these buildings, depending on where the second point is. Can be quite important on this chapel hard cap, because it's like really right out in the corner of this sector. So if Drowned Fields is the second point for the Germans here, whoever's playing the allies, so 82 AD in this case, they really don't want to allow Germans to accumulate down this road and kind of down this road and all in the back of this sector here and stuff like this, because even though you get extra capture power or extra weight of capture power inside the hard cap, you can see how small it is compared with some of these, like AA batteries, a real whopper. WN7 down the bottom here is a big one. So it's really small. It's really artilleryable, so you have to get inside the church. So just a few people inside there. Obviously, if there's then tons of Germans in and around the sector, they are providing capture power. They will be in some cover, so they can start to flip the point, even if they're not inside the hard cap. So it does kind of depend on the secondary point. But the Germans will initially, I suspect, be trying to either get through this gap here in this stream, and down here, Legrand Creek it's called, the stream, and this point obviously named after it. So they'll try and get into the stream either down here or up into these buildings, which oftentimes become crucial, especially if Sunken Bridge is the next point, because you can see that the places where action will happen then are kind of here on this F line where WM4 meets the road, because the allies will be wanting to, if they do cap Chapel first, they'll be wanting to push this way and into Sunken Bridge. They'll also want to move down the stream and probably around the back, you see. So there are some kind of predictable places, and obviously, like I said, with Drowned Fields like that, if that's the secondary point, then the allies are going to need to go this kind of diagonal or down this way. So then clearly the Germans are going to want to do the same, block them off as they go. So we'll watch out if it is the Chapel to see what the secondary point is. Legrand Creek as well, obviously it's like down a little bit and along, but they'll be really piling on the forces in this area and watching for flanks around the side. But the chapel itself, very artilleryable. Tanks, very important on that capture point as well. Out in the fields here to the north for the allies is a vital area to kind of capture and hold, to allow their troops to filter in and out of the back of the chapel hard cap here, and also to watch out for Germans moving down to the south in F column and down the road, of course. So then looking at WN7, we've got a situation on that point where it's again kind of favouring the Allies in terms of their initial approach. They can get up to, I've heard people call it Grandma's house or Grandpa's house or whoever it is, the Elder's house, up here in F8. Just on the line, there is a house. You can't see it kind of marked here on the map, but it is sort of the guard post, as it were, for getting into these trenches in the back. Right off the bat as well, you can drive into the back here, but these trenches, there's kind of like a shell hole thing here, a gap in the barbed wire, but that's okay for getting in the back of WN7 right off the bat. But any time after that, just forget it, because it can be locked down so easily by shells and also by tanks, who will move up this way for the Germans and kind of sit oftentimes along these hedgerows here, or even, and we saw yesterday in the IR versus G13 match, move right into the back of the point here at WN7. WN7 as well, it's got lots of open fields around it, really annoying with barbed wire all around it, so quite difficult to get in for infantry, and again kind of governed by the roads, and again a little bit with the second point, but less so. Obviously, if Drown Fields is a second point, for example, here for the Germans, they can be really strong and kind of just fortify this whole area. Obviously, they have to keep an eye out for flanks up in the stream to the north of Drown Fields, but for the most part, they can just really fortify these roads. You can try and kind of come around this way if they do lose that initial cap on it, which they oftentimes do, and take that house and move down the trenches as I described before. Very rarely will you see them flanking much deeper than that. Obviously, we're sort of getting into irrelevant sectors, as it were, but again, you know, with a lot of Germans along this road and in the back here, it can be quite a lot of capture power that they do have if the Allies don't have people inside the circle, but it is a bit of an easier and larger circle for them to get into. Up on the north then at WN4, again the Allies have a bit of an advantage getting there first. They can drive their trucks through the barbed wire here, straight down the road and into the back of WN4 and catch the Germans as they move up, because they're a little bit more restricted. They'll kind of either come down the road or through the barbed wire here onto this corner. Oftentimes the Germans are going to want to capture these buildings though, because as you can see, it's still an F column. There's still an advantage to the Allies. They will get there first. They very likely cap it first. So these farm buildings down here in F4, really vital for the Germans to get into, so they can mount attacks down the road through the gaps in the barbed wire. But also, again, with this situation where they've got 3 full squares of the sort of attacking sector, as it were, that they can just pile bodies into, get tanks into, and that will start to have an effect on the capture point. Although the capture point is around buildings, you know, there is some cover there for the Allies. It's less artilleryable than Chapel, so they don't quite suffer the same situation. Let me try and get us into this server. It's very draining that it has to be like this, but I'll be right back with you. Listen to some lovely music, and yeah, hopefully in just a couple of minutes we will be ready to start the game. So thank you and see you soon. Okay, just about 20 seconds and we will get into the game. I'll get us straight up in the air. We'll look at the points and take a glance at both the maps as we get in. Again, you'll see Garri's OnlyFans in blue this evening, and you're going to see 82 AD in red. The server's flipping now, so we'll jump in with the squad and get up in the air straight away so you can see the whole deployment phase. Okay, let's have a look what map we've got. So it's WN7, so the point is the one we just discussed down at the bottom of the map. I'll get the other account spawned in and we can get both maps up. But for now, oops, let's get rid of my overlay there. So for now you can see, yes, WN7 is the point in play here at the middle, with Drownfields and Summary Approach here for Goth and Void, which is actually a pretty strong combination for them. Anytime you see a map like this where you've got both points in a line, or all 3 points in a line, as they are here on the left-hand side, the Goth and Void map that you can see on the left, that's a very strong setup. And vice versa, when you've got this kind of horrible diagonal for both, you know, if it was Hill 5 and then Red Roof House in the middle here, maybe not so bad, but back down to Uncle Red here for 82 AD, who are on the red map that you can see on the right hand side here as I'm moving my mouse. That makes it really, really hard for them because they have to defend such a long kind of front line. They can't just amass their troops. You see how here Goth and Void would be able to basically just amass their troops down the bottom of the map, and the only place they can really get flanked from is kind of north. That just makes it so much easier to deal with the map, whereas obviously if we get onto Hill 5, then on the right hand map here, 82 AD have really, their enemies can come from anywhere, and not just that, they have such a long way between WN7 and Hill 5 to actually travel between the two. That can make it really difficult. So we've got 82 AD Gem here, the commander, on the right hand side for 82 AD in blue on the right here, and then we've got their transport truck and another one down the bottom. They're just literally going to make a charge for WN7. I suggest that bottom one's probably going to go for that gap we highlighted down the bottom there. They've also got somebody, War Dog, up here in I3, who is in that Stuart tank up in I3. We've seen this kind of play from 82 AD here before. War Dog solo tanking, trying to shoot tank shells from a vantage point over on the sand dunes all the way back to the artillery of Goth and Void back here, where we've got who's our RT squad leaders. We've got Skirt, we've got Adam 1776, and we've got Soap. They do have a tank in front of them as well, so maybe that's going to be trying to block something there. They're also building things. I can see lots of supplies falling down there, trying to kind of block themselves off, but then they're sending their two transport trucks absolutely laden with people straight into the back of WN7 here, as we've got other squad leaders here in guerrilla tactics. We've got Myth moving through F line, and Lil White Cammy Corbett in the Lux going to back them up, as well as a medium tank moving up too. And I want to keep an eye on this recon tank up on the top in 3 line as well, because obviously that could cause a real problem for War Dog, who's over here in I3. So let's get into the kind of the main game screen and get ourselves orientated. We're in completely the wrong spot here. Let's get over to WN7 and see, as we could hear, the artillery was starting to fire, so that should be dropping any second. And right now I can see already, if we get our highlighting sorted out, we've got a German transport truck with Muck Snapper jumping out. We've got Overblaze I see down there, the real thing. We've also got Cicatriz here. We've got Craven, a whole bunch of Goth and Void players getting there very quickly and managing to take out an 82 AD truck, which is really great for them. I'm not sure if that was artillery, I kind of missed that. But 82 AD really not getting as many people as they would like into the back of the point here, I think. And kind of more so going for this northern push, which is a bit bizarre in a way. I know they have to keep themselves kind of blocked in. This light tank's not going to last long if he keeps taking shots like that. But 82 AD a little bit slow at getting into the point here as the Stuart goes down to Sergeant Garand 123 over there for Goff. Good stuff here from the Germans then, as Garry's Only fans and Void are very much capping the point here at Win 7, and I don't know if that's intentional here, having seen the map layout from 82 AD. They just, you know, they're really more focused on getting their presence in the middle of the map to stop that awkward flank. Right now we're kind of looking down at E and F6. We'll take a little look at their map in just a second. This is a recon plane here for them. By them I mean 82 AD, as you can see here flying over the point. And you can see just how many players they've got to the north of Win 7 here, as it's going to flip with just 5 minutes in the game. 2 Goff and Void almost uncontested, not entirely uncontested, but pretty much. And it's great stuff from them. I could hear that Lux firing that we saw moving up before, and he's moved all the way out the back here of the point. As Goff take that one in style. I can see the flare below us in green. If ever you see a green flare, that is a US flare, so 82 AD flare today. 82 AD, Giaco and Chubby, both running into that difficult point that I talked about, that shell hole. Risky plays as the Lux does go down back here to the medium 75, or perhaps it was the Stuart or a combination of the two. But they don't care because they're going to go back and get a bigger tank. That was really just to kind of try and help with the cap here on WN7. But maybe the drivers, you know, the pilots of that Lux, a little bit surprised that they didn't have too much to do over here because a serious lack of 82 AD players. Wow, that's a big explosion, killing a whole bunch of Void and Goth players down here. As Thorpe, Spearhead, Hellbro, Alfie from 82 AD pushing hard back into the point here at Win 7, killing Overblaze. Cicatriz running in the back of the point here, but Thorpe takes the building as Cicatriz goes down to artillery. Spawning in outside of the point here, the Pro-Cage Gorf ultimate from Goff. Gorf dying to Thorpe, ultimate maybe next. It's very difficult to ADS that machine gun quick enough, especially against someone like Thorpe, who dies himself to possibly his own artillery there. Unfortunate, but they are starting to kind of cap, and it's good stuff from them to do a decent counter-attack here. I'm just looking at the other map now though, because if we see them both here together, Hill 5, there's quite a few defenders back, and they do have a kind of contingent over here in E6. 82 AD sort of sitting more on the defense, but look at this garrison here in F5 from Ender of Goth fame. I'm just watching this cap progress, edging right, then left, then right again. You can see the Goth and Void garrisons here all along D column, and as I said before, they can line up along here, and you can see Monarch, the commander for Goth, jumping out to build a garrison maybe back here around Drown Fields. Probably not going to get anything down over here, maybe, not sure, but probably going to get something down into Drown Fields as the heavy tank moves up. They were the guys who were in that Lux that got destroyed before. These are maybe some of the supplies for that Drown Fields garrison, but you can see that they can just consolidate all along this road, really shore up these points, and especially now they've taken WN7 so quickly, it might just be a case for them of kind of sitting on it a little bit, although of course they do need to be attacking to keep some pressure going on up at Hill 5 here. I think we've kind of missed this arty snipe tank. It's got destroyed up in I3. War Dog went down for 82 AD, and I now see Star-Lord and who's this? Clicker, who's going for that light tank, kind of floating around that area, fighting over here against Riot, the Queen Squad leader, and who's our O Squad leader, Hans here. Both of them here for Goth and Void are recon players so they can fire the flares. That's why you can kind of see some of these players highlighted. I realise I'm trying to talk completely over the top of the artillery here, as it's still falling pretty heavily on Win 7. And we've got a Panther up now for Goff and Void at Win 7. Thorpe, Hellbro and the rest of that squad still spawning into the trenches back there, but now there's a heavy tank moved up for Void and Goff. It does make things a lot more difficult. You can see though that the flares are being used by 82AD to highlight Win 7, whereas we saw Riot and Hands all the way back in the traditional kind of configuration with the recons playing very deep, using their flares to identify players in and around the tank sniping positions rather than where players are actually on the hard cap. So interesting kind of comparison there, two different styles of using those flares. Obviously new to this update and a very powerful tool, as we see another one fly up into the air and effectively give a UAV basically here, highlighting both tanks as well for 82AD. And as they start to build up their munitions, you can see they've only got 57 at the moment, but as those munitions start to build up, those flares really become very powerful, because of course now with the precision strike, airstrike, able to take out tanks and multiple tanks at one time, even if they're close enough together, it can be very powerful to know exactly where they are. And we can see a Panzer IV below us on the left and a Panther on the right here for Goff and Void. Let's jump in with the guys in the Panther. It's Cammy, the Corgis and Lil White. They are currently going to be engaging with the 76 that we can't quite see just now, but it's moving up. You can sort of see the red silhouette there through the hedge, and this is an absolute classic tank battle position. And the 76, if they peek, they might be in difficulty. The angled armour here of this Panther always going to cause problems. See how they're sitting at a slight angle as well, just increasing their odds of ricocheting a shot. And they're actually being smoked. I don't know who this smoke shell is, but I presume it's 82AD, and it's a good idea because it does mean they're going to have to move. They can't just sit there. And if they get marked by 82AD and they're sitting in the smoke and they can't see out of it, they're just literally a sitting duck waiting to get blown up by that 76 that's moving up. Plenty of 82AD players you can see on the left of the screen here moving into the back of WN7. Good stuff from them to keep the pressure up here after that early cap, but they do have it all to do, especially with this point configuration. It does make it difficult, but I can see on their map that they're doing a decent job here of getting enough people back in defence at Hill 5. And you know, even though they did lose that initial cap, they do have quite a few people encircled round. They've even made it to the crossroads here in E7, E8, and by going into that kind of middle area, maybe they bought themselves just enough time to get themselves set up over here at Hill 5, because they've got a garrison up here in H4 and another one behind the point here in H5, and even a back garrison here for them to kind of spawn in and run up the stream if they need to. However, as you can see, that is proxied now right at the back and actually getting taken down. If we take a quick look at both maps together, oops, excuse me, you can see that is Hands there, the recon squad leader, taking out that garrison. Found it very quickly, kind of obvious maybe along this line here, pretty classic. And I can hear now another plane going over the top, and that is the recon plane here for Goff and Void, flying straight over F column and basically identifying hardly anyone, it seems, but they will know not to waste artillery shells out here on this trench hole. Let's get back into the game, because I can see that both of those tanks are still sitting there, the heavy tanks, and they're about to have that big face-off. As the Panther on the right hand side close to us here is edging forward. They have moved out of the smoke. The Panzer IV on the left by the road there, covering Craven, gets a shot in the side from Ghost Recon over here with the rocket, and they're doing a good job, 82AD, of flanking all the way round. And that is a hit. The Panzer IV is damaged there as Ghost Recon redeploys to get more munitions. A reload on his rocket launcher. We've got Thorpe and God here very close to this anti-tank gun as Derb.ph is covering the road with Jarvan moving up and Mike Lawrence, I think it's Mike Lawrence down here on the garrison. But because this garrison, if we look at the map now, you can see the garrison is kind of a back garrison here in D column. So for Mike to take that down, it's going to take 30 seconds. So the strafing run here has enough time to actually be effective, but it's used now, and Jarvan is now doing the job instead of Mike, so it will go down that back garrison. And a good effort here to flank all the way around. Ginger Scotsman, Popcorn Unicorn stayed here as well, although Stayed wishes he had a rocket launcher right now, because a bazooka up the backside of that Panzer IV could change quite a lot for his teammates. Capital and Hellbro, DO6, Kurt as well, Mannering even running up here, and Scipio all going for that horrible push through the barbed wire. Absolute insanity if you ask me. It's never going to work out. So easy to cover as Craven, Pro Cage just look out of that trench over the whole area, surveying everything. That was General firing a rocket, a bazooka rocket over the top of the point there. I'm not sure why. Obviously it's become a thing of late for the Germans to use their kind of I don't know, superior maybe we'll call it, although in some ways it's definitely inferior, but their rocket, their Panzer Shrek I should say, to fire a long arc from certain positions all the way up in the air and then down onto the enemy artillery. And the artillery here for the Allies on Utah Beach especially exposed. However, the rocket that we saw fly past us from the bazooka doesn't have the same arc on it, and so can't really do the same job. I can see, just looking on my other monitor here, that 82AD do have an AT gun set up on the sand dunes over here by the final point at Uncle Red. We might see it fire in a moment, and that's going to be pointed probably towards the artillery of Goff and Void. This Panther's playing a dangerous game because the 76 might be able to just see them through the window, and yes, exactly that has happened. They get a shot and they need to get out of that situation quickly, because otherwise they're going to get destroyed. More artillery killing Profund. I think they've got yes, they do have an OP just to the left of the doorway there, and that's not ideal. This Panther's got itself a little bit pinned now. They're going to have to jump out and heal again. It's not ideal for them at all. They're kind of being covered whichever way they move by that 76 now, which is a bit difficult. But the 76 does have to be careful not to get too tunnel visioned, because another heavy tank is moving up the road here with Ramari and Omen of War, who's driving that one. Oh no, sorry, Ramari's driving that one. Omen of War, the commander, is the spotter. So several different ways that you can obviously use the tanks. Some of the best tank players I know, the tank commander will go as the driver. They never have to communicate any kind of, you know, instructions about where to go, when. They can just move very quickly. They can respond to enemy tank markers exceptionally well. But it's also a valid tactic to have the spotter position occupied by the squad leader, because they can place markers and that can be useful. They can see markers, which can be useful, but if the tank commander is the driver, they can obviously see the markers and just ping for their own team, place squad markers. And in my opinion, although I'm not a comp player and not really a tanker, it's probably the superior way of going about things, from what I've seen anyway, success-wise. But it's really a matter of taste. Down here we can see Corbett is jumped out. This is a recon plane going over the top that you can hear for Gotham Voids. But Cammy, the squad leader, is also out healing right now. Maybe he's going to help with the repairs. No tank simp squads, they call them tank simps. I'm pretty sure I'm a fan of the term's a bit pejorative, but a lot of the time you get engineers who just follow the tanks around to help as an extra player to kind of keep healing them up. But 82AD doing enough here, pinning that Panther down, now using smokes. A good flank that we've seen them on this whole time. and Hellbro and squad moving around from his OP here into the point, starting to get some capture power, but Goth and Void are still remaining strong in the hard cap here. Quite possibly because these guys here, Capital, DO6, Kurt, etc., are running this just pointless, in my mind, route across the open field. It's absolutely hideous. I know they've got tank support and, you know, tank cover over there from the 76, but the 76 is really, its primary concern is this Panther. It's not, you know, it can't concentrate on all the infantry that they have to contend with, and let alone the infantry or the tank. They're just going to get artillery to absolute oblivion out there in that field. It's a real nightmare. They probably, in my opinion, and again it is only my opinion, be better served by following the tank routes from what we call Grandpa's house, Grandma's house over there. This is a bombing run now though for 82 AD coming in. Oh no, it's a precision strike actually, my mistake, and that's going to be aimed over here at the tank, but it kind of misses it, as you can see, those marks on the ground. The Panther quick enough to get out of the way as the 76 moves up now. We can see them slowly rolling towards the hard cap here. Cicatriz, squad leader for Goth, dead inside the building as more artillery falls, and the 82 AD squads pincer in around the point here at WN7. They're not as strong as they were out and round the flanks, but they do have more people inside of the point now. Having a look over at their map, you can see that they've got Abel and Nagat squad over here in E7. They've also got these, again, those OPs, but you can see from looking at the map that this one's actually in that horrible position in the tank trap. You know, this one's a bit closer. Sure, you can actually see some people just spawned in on it, and we'll have a look in a moment where that is. If I jump over here, it's these lot have just spawned in. Literally a hideous place to spawn, to be quite honest with you. But looking again at their map, you can see they've got another one over here with Fox Squad out by the trenches, and in my opinion they should really all be there as they call in the airhead to drop on WN7. We'll go over to Hill 5 now though, because despite having quite a few defenders around there, if we have a little look at both the maps together, you can see that there's an absolute ton of Goth and Void players now, with King and Item, Charlie squad as well, Fox squad too, all spawning in and around Hill 5, and they are starting to cap. So let's get quickly over there and have a look. We got a bit distracted by the middle point here, as I believe so did 82 AD, and looking here at Hill 5 you can see just how many blueberries there are moving up towards the point, and quite a long run for Cannon Fodder Bob and Jimmy out to the right hand side of the screen here as they desperately try to get back to Hill 5. Still being capped here though by Goth and Void as they move through the covered area on the left hand side of the screen, up the hill towards the hard cap, and if they can get inside those trenches it's going to be really difficult for 82 AD to get back in. Kill switch looking to get a whole bunch of kills, but it looks like the real thing maybe got 2 or 3 on the guys running up to the barbed wire, and of course all of this barbed wire still can't be destroyed. The devs of this game literally don't give a crap. They don't want you to survive. They leave it in as an undestroyable, immovable, unnegotiable object, and it stops 82 AD from getting back quick enough, and it's another point here to Goth and Void, as we can see a whole ton of 82 AD players following their flare back up into the point in panic, but they need to be so careful. Let's have a look now at the map here, and we can see Hands already moving up, possibly trying to look to build that garrison, but I'd suggest Iron Ranger and Myth, especially over here, the squad leader Myth, is going to be looking to get a garrison down and quickly push on to Uncle Red. Looking at both maps side by side, you can see that there are some players back for 82 AD here on Uncle Red, but there's still some in WN7, and way more pushing for that counterattack on Hill 5. Obviously we can see both maps here, and we can kind of observe that Goth and Void, they haven't fully taken Hill 5 in the sense of having all their spawn points nicely up inside the point, or very, very close to the point, or down on this area where Jig is in Ender, where they can kind of easily filter into the point and kill anybody who's rushing up this ditch. And that could be costing them dearly, because you can see now that we've got 82 AD players holding the ditch, pushing up the hill, still getting into hill 5. And the more people they can rush that point with, there is a real risk here for Goth and Void that they could lose to a counter-attack, but they've got an absolute ton of OPs in and around the point. You can see Jig, Golf, Howl, we've got Item, Charlie, even King, and you could even say Dog OP back here as well. Love also, although behind the garrison, all looking to push up to hill 5 and get that squared away, cordoned off. You can see down below us Monarch, the commander, down in E8, looking to go and build a garrison again in WN7. Now the pressure's off a little bit. May try and get one here, but at the moment looks like just trying to get right to the point on those supplies. You can see Fox has built that garrison that we were talking about. No supplies dropped there in G7, so what that means is that one of the players has come in as support. We can't see who it is just now, who we got here. So one of their players has come in as support, then placed their supplies, redeployed and swapped with somebody else who's waiting, and they've come in as support, dropped their supplies, and then you've got enough to build a garrison. Although actually I'm talking absolute rubbish. That is a strategy, but this is in the blue zone, so you only need 50 supplies. I'm literally talking nonsense. Don't listen to me. But you can see 82 AD have done a decent job of getting back to Uncle Red. They're not going to get flipped on too quickly, and they also got people in hill 5 that are starting to cap, but they, despite having the garrison red hot there for a moment, there's so many Void and Goth players there, and they've kind of got a bit of an advantage here once they've taken hill 5. Oh, let me get back into the proper camera, but you can see below us Craven here and Kitex, Prankster pushing the ditch out to the left, but you can see they've kind of got, as I was about to say, a bit of an advantage here once they've capped the point, because they do have more covered positions to get in from, and 82 AD are a little bit restricted. They can not only come in from these areas that they're getting absolutely naded out of their minds, or that ditch to the left hand side, or they can flank all the way round, but they're nowhere near flanking round yet. Thorpe, unfortunately, way out of position there, just looking to kind of back up, get round hill 5, try and kill some people, as another flare there bursts above hill 5 for 82 AD. Let's get over to Uncle Red and see what 82 AD have got in terms of defences going on over here. We can see that we've got, oh, excuse me for my seemingly very high sensitivity. It's not, I swear, I just have shaky hands. We can see Sir Lucky there sitting in the top of the building, rubbed squad leader out to the right hand side, E-Venom as well, and they have got a decent perimeter set up here. They're not going to get instantly capped on. 1 hour and 2 minutes left in the game, so just about half an hour been played as another heavy tank is moving up. This one likely to probably sit in and around the point for them there. They do have another that we can see out on the road here moving up to help with that push at hill 5, but a little bit of a sort of sporadic push at hill 5. I think maybe just going for the kind of, you know, they're trying to not sacrifice everyone to the same submachine gunner or assault player who catches all their players together, so they're sort of patrolling with plenty of space between them. And players like Cannon Fodder Bob in the squad leader role here be looking to place garrisons, get their OPs up and move themselves around to kind of where Thorpe actually just went down, unfortunately. Every single time I talk about Thorpe, he gets this insane commentator's curse and dies practically every time. But look how dispersed these 82 AD players are as they push up towards the point. They've got recon flares above them, identifying where the enemies are, but it's still very, very difficult as artillery still falling on them. Let's go and check out the artillery for Goth and Void, because we saw they were maybe getting kind of sniped out at the start, but right now they've got all 3 guns occupied. They've got the Lux driven up on this Belgian gate. They've even built not just top level barricades here, but a top level bunker, all in order to just try and stop themselves from getting sniped. And this is a part of the comp game as it is now, and as I mentioned briefly in the kind of pre-game, there's a lot of debate at the moment about rules in Hell Let Loose comp, and, you know, I don't know if people are sort of truly saying balance within some level of realism and some level of just kind of competitiveness, but, you know, clearly driving a tank up a Belgian gate and parking it in front of your artillery to stop it getting sniped is pretty far outside of the realms of reality, but certainly a necessity at this stage in the game. In my opinion, I kind of like a lot of these rules where teams are trying to, you know, figure out new and innovative ways to best each other. I think it's something that keeps the game interesting, but do let me know what you think. Obviously, we are live now, or as in, you know, the show is live. This is the bombing run here for 82 AD, taking out the garrison I just saw on the point there. Not actually taking in too many players. Mucksnapper kind of spawns in the smoke a bit below us. And the tank not troubled really too much at all, although they did get a bit damaged there actually. But not too much. Ghost Recon and Spearhead for 82 AD moving to the left as their artillery drops smoke. And I'm curious to see whether this Panther, yep, takes out the 76 that was way over here on the sand dunes, just moving up. And that gives us a perfect segue to go and have a little look over here at the artillery for 82 AD. I can see Riot way out in the water there, maybe getting shots on them. But I'm curious to see if there's any kind of explosions falling here. You know, we talked about Panzerschrecks earlier. We've talked about tanks sniping at them. Here's the Panzerschreck and a great shot there. We'll wait and see where that one comes from, and we'll go and identify the spot where it got fired. There should be another one coming in any moment. Unless that was the second shot. Obviously Panzerschrecks have two shots. And this is something that, you know, I don't know how many teams have thought about this just yet, but especially with this Panzerschreck meta, there it is, so it's kind of from over there somewhere. We'll go and catch up with it. This kind of pigsty looking thing you can see here is the munitions node, and that's what's providing munitions resources here. You can see it going up 60 a minute here for Goth and Void. Now, it's not Worst Guitarist. Who is it? These guys over here, I guess. Yep. We've got Moseman and Shen. Shout out to Moseman. A regular on Angelo Delamorti's stream. So these two guys here, you can see they've spawned in at the garrison. They've still got 50 supplies here. When they fire both their shots, we'll see what they do. So Shen reloading now whilst Moseman is ready to fire. They're kind of waiting for, you know, what they think is the right time for people to respawn and get back to the guns before firing another shot, I'm guessing. Or maybe they just know I'm watching them, so they're being boring on purpose. But you see below us here, we've got some supplies here, some ammunition supplies for them to kind of restock. So every now and again, somebody will have to come and replace that box. Moseman already fired, I think, so he should be out of rockets now. Shen firing. We've certainly seen Shen fire just a minute ago, so he's definitely out of rockets. So what does Shen do now? Redeploy, right? So redeployed, so that means that Shen's probably already got a restock of rockets from here. So fired 2 shots, restocked. So Moseman going to restock now, although actually dies to gem. And this is one of the another thing about this Panzerschreck play actually, and something that, you know, I'll talk about in just a second. But Moseman had to fire 2 rockets, go resupply, fire 2 rockets. You can't resupply again, so then redeploy and come back. There's only a certain number of times that you can use these you know, these crates here, these ammo boxes, and they're unable to spawn here as well. I don't know who's shooting here. Oh, okay, Shen and Moseman at their OP. Moseman goes down. Gem, a fantastic player, kills them both without too much trouble. An absolute legend of the game here, Jen. Knows that they've got their OP there. It's pretty pissed off about it, I'm guessing. Definitely just going to go take that out, although needs to be quick then to get back to the garrison so they can't spawn there. Instantly turns around. He's got a bit injured, so he's going to heal. We'll see if they get a spawn in here. But what I was saying about these crates is that these crates will run out. And what we're not seeing at the moment is any, or I haven't seen so far, any use of that munitions node. If you remember, about 5 minutes ago I was talking about the pigsty thing on the beach. That munitions node if you look on the map, you can see that they have this yellow circle around them. If you look down here in A6, this is where Goth and Void have theirs, and they built all 3 nodes together here. But what that yellow circle means is that anybody who has an ammo box capacity, so any class who can spawn in and place an ammo box, is able to get the cooldown on their ammo box halved. So if you put those, instead of leaving the nodes way back here, if they were to put them somewhere more midfield, then anyone who's having to come back and constantly drop those boxes, then they will be able to do that twice as often. So something that I've not really seen come into the game, and the same thing for the manpower node. It's the same thing for the supplies, which they use to obviously build garrisons, build some defences, build AT guns, etc. So not something that we've seen a lot of at this stage, but could become more part of the game as more players or teams start to utilise that. But the thing that I was going to say with these Panzerschrecks, and it kind of again lends itself into this, what I'm just talking about now, as being a tactic that might get used. This Panther's in real difficulties here. Got shots on, I believe, from the 76 out there in the broken building just ahead of us. Looks like they've managed to save themselves for now. The 76 back here is what I'm talking about, although I think there is another one actually. No, it's just the one, so it must have been them, I guess. So those Panzerschreck players who were firing, we saw Mosman and Shen firing those Panzerschrecks. You can see the rockets flying through the air. There is a radius at which you can't reach the guns. You know, the places where they can fire from are known, and if they're not known, they're definitely discoverable by enemies. And so, as we saw Gem taking them down just there, it's very possible to lose a position like that. And that kind of almost brings even more to the fore what I was just saying about the munitions crates, etc., because that position's compromised now. Now they don't need a munitions crate somewhere else. So having people able to spawn them double time may be helpful and relevant. But I'm really on a ramble now. Looking at the map here for Goth and Void, you can see they've really consolidated Hill 5. They've not pushed too well towards Uncle Red, or at least they got fought off from Uncle Red. If we see both maps together, you can see 82AD doing a good job of area control further out into this red sector, but having to dedicate a lot of people to that. And the problem obviously with this sector is it's not. So these 4 squares here, what we call a sector, that's providing defensive power on Uncle Red. These 4 squares around Hill 5 are providing offensive or capture power here for 82AD over on Hill 5. These not doing anything. These not doing anything. So you can see that where any players, and that goes for both teams as well. So obviously we've got Riot over here, we've got Galacticus, we've even got Cicatrix over here in these 2 columns basically doing nothing. Anybody that's in these 2 columns, they're not having any impact on the capture power or defensive power at all. And the same for anyone in any of these 2 columns, unless they're in these 4 squares. But as you can see, no Goth and Void players here at all. This is a pretty decent recon flare, identifying a tank and a whole bunch of infantry, although I think the tank's already marked. We don't have a squad leader position, so I can't actually see if the tank is marked, unfortunately, but I suspect it will be, as it's just been in a battle here with the Panther already. But Hill 5 pretty well defended here by Athens Muck Snapper. We've got Beef there with the machine gun holding 82AD at bay. But 82AD themselves doing a decent job over on Uncle Red. So just about 50 minutes left in the game, and we're kind of stuck with a 4-1 for the moment. I don't see 82AD collapsing and getting destroyed on Uncle Red immediately. So what I'll actually do is jump on over to my Twitch, and we'll start the prediction for everybody, because it won't start for those people until half an hour before you're hearing me say this, if that makes sense. They'll be watching the game half an hour before I'm speaking. Thank you, by the way, to anybody who follows the stream today. Clearly, I can't say kind of thank you and call people out. We don't have any alerts and stuff like that for the production quality, but just do know that I do appreciate it. it's because of everybody following and subbing and tipping that I've been able to get another monitor, make the stream a lot better and smoother. I've got, you know, another account here, so I got both maps obviously, so having another monitor is massively helpful to be able to see both of those, and you know, also have my Streamlabs up, also have other things like visible so I can check whether it's all working for you. So definitely appreciated big time. Do consider putting !fight, by the way, in the chat. That will take you straight through to the Cancer Research UK page. If you have the money to sub to me or to tip to me, then do first consider giving it to that charity. They obviously do great work for cancer research. This AT gun here looking over at Hill 5 for 82 AD, but no one's on it at the moment. I suggest they've been knocked off it. The 76 playing very defensively here, helping to kind of support some of this full frontal push to a degree, but really, you know, playing pretty passively here. Who have we got? We've got Ginger Scott, we've got Frogger's Terminator, and they do have an enemy tank moving up on them here with this Panther. Who have we got in this one? Ultimate, the tank simp on this one. As I say, they're really not a fan of that term. Omen of War, Bebo and Ramari. The tank is here. Like deselected everyone. There we go, now you can see they've got both tanks again. And face to face with the 76. I don't think they knew they were there, which is crazy how they could not have a marker. Literally crazy. It got identified by the recon plane a minute ago, or the recon flare, and has literally not moved. And that is a massive miscommunication, costing Goff and Void a Panther tank here, and that's not what they want. They got one shot on the 76, so he's going to have to heal, but there's another ricochet there. I'm not sure who that was off. An AT gun maybe, but they've also, it looks like they've also got shots here from the AT gun. So it was the AT gun that we saw before firing on that other Panther at Hill 5, who just got hit again by the AT gun, has had to fall back again. So a little bit questionable here from Goff and Void how they managed to let that Panther go down. That's infantry smoke around the tank here as Terminator hops out to heal. By infantry smoke I mean it's like a smoke grenade. It's not that Goff and Void are dropping smoke artillery on it. They're getting shot at as well though, maybe also by an AT gun. We'll have a look in just a second. It could be this over here. I think it is that AT gun. I don't quite see where the shell came from, but Killswitch looking to run and get the satchel. As they do start to move, the satchel's placed. Someone's probably going to jump out, but for now Killswitch in a pretty decent position, killing the infantry who are coming to back the tank up in a gunfight with Jimmy. Crowd can hear the gunfire but goes down to Killswitch. Not long now left on the timer here, not going to be enough for them to defuse it. Killswitch probably going to die to his own satchel here, but going to take out the 76 as Jacko tries to support it but isn't going to work, and there she blows. Good stuff from Killswitch to take out that 76. We love to see it. And now, without a heavy tank by the Red Roof House there, these infantry may be slightly more vulnerable, although as we saw with that Panther getting destroyed, Goff not really in a position here to make them pay. They do have another heavy tank up here in G4. They've of course got that one that we were looking at on the point below us. There's the tank in G4 by those farm buildings, but it's not going to be in a good position for them, as you know, they've found another rocket shot here and good stuff hitting the artillery. I saw that impact the artillery. Who have we got firing these over here? I don't even see. Was that Iron Ranger firing that rocket from below us? over at the artillery. This is a precision strike now, taking out the Panther that's just been sitting there, asking for it basically. And now tankless in and around the point after some somewhat questionable plays there from the Goff and Void tank players. We've got Star-Lord making a push on WN7 for what reason I'm not quite sure, but being supported as well, it seems, by smoke, although supported might be an overstatement. Don't know the rationale behind that. If we look over at their map, you can see Star-Lord down here, item squad leader with an OP. It's not actually off the map. Oh, it is actually off the map. Down here in G9 apparently. Kind of looking to get in and around WN7 through that gap in the barbed wire maybe, or perhaps push out and around. Maybe they're going to try and get him over here into G6, build a garrison behind Hill 5, but I think they might struggle a little bit. As you can see when we look at both maps, not only is there a garrison here and a recon tank on WN7, but he's also got Fox Squad and Dog Squad and a garrison, and then Nagat and How all in between him and Hill 5. So and actually just dies now, you can see, just died down here to one of these Dog Squad players. I'm guessing that was Worst Guitarist, who killed him with the machine gun there. And you know, I was talking to somebody about this the other day. Machine guns in defense, you know, if you've got somebody who knows what they're doing and is patient, then they can be so powerful. I just saw the garrison on Hill 5 go down, and 82 AD are kind of surrounding it. They've got some decent positions up to the north there. Goff and Void maybe concentrating a little bit too much on the predictable route of approach down there by Nagat and House Squad in G column, down below the point. If we have a look here in G6, and they are starting to actually lose the point over at Hill 5 now, although so many of these players, you can see all the ones up here in G and H4, even whoever this is moving into F5, they are not inside these 4 squares, and so they're not providing capture power yet. Although if they can get supplies down and do that trick I said about earlier, where they get somebody to play supplies, redeploy, change roles, get another person to come in, play supplies, they could get a back garrison down here. Easy certainly looking dangerous, although has to contend with Golf Squad here from Goff and Void over in F5. Let's jump over there and have a little look at what's going on. There are 82 AD players in the point, and Thorpe's one of them, which is not what you want. Thorpe, an absolute top killer, just playing as rifleman today, as he often does. Absolutely slapping people, as he often does. Killing off a whole bunch of these Goff players who are trying to get back into the point. We've got Gorf, we've got Robert, all moving up that ditch, but it seems like Gorf actually killed Thorpe there from inside the smoke, which is one of the things in this game. It's difficult to know, you know, especially with the hand smoke, less so with the artillery smoke. Ultimate trading there with General, but getting chubby as well. Good place on Ultimate to get into the point, and this was where we could see 82 AD flounder on this attack without tank support. But lost my train of thought there. Can't remember what I was saying before. Something important, I'm sure. Hill 5 defended again then by Goff and Void players. We've got Profound from Void, we've got Ender and Ultimate, we've got Robert and Beef, as well as Commander Monarch. Oh, excuse me, Monarch. Got a frog in my throat. From Goff Capital on the death march up the hill here. Trying to contend again with this horrible barbed wire situation. The ditch is so open here. If they were able to get a real good amount of artillery smoke up on the point at Hill 5, it might help them, but now Beef's opening up with that machine gun. Profound pushing the ditch and killing General again. think it was Profound who was killing people for. Oh no, it wasn't. I forget who it was. The engineer who killed General last time, but Capital goes down. Profound probably going to get this OP. Not quite. Goes down out in the field to Ultimate, maybe. Oh no, Ultimate's on his team. I don't know who just shot him then. It was Ultimate before who was getting those kills on General. I remember now. Ender and Ultimate, both cursing the commentators, died to maybe Ghost Recon or Jarvan potentially. Now they do have tanks in play here, but so will Goff and Void in a minute. Heavy tank moving up in row 4 as they put their recon plane across. This probably will identify the tank, I suspect. I can't see it because I'm not a squad leader, but I'm just kind of looking at these buildings here. They're the farm buildings that you can see over on the map here, or over on the screen, sorry. Luminol and who is that? Ultimate, both firing rockets into the back of the 76. It's going to push right up, but maybe it doesn't matter if they do even die, because it's enough of a distraction perhaps to allow plenty of 82 AD players into Hill 5, and they are capping. They're almost halfway capped here. 39 minutes left in the game. 82 AD making a concerted effort on Hill 5. Thorpe goes down to Overblaze. It's down to Chubby, DO6, Capital, General now, Jarvan with the kill on Overblaze. Alex maybe looking to get an OP up or something back there to get his players in quickly, but right now not providing capture power inside the hard cap, and it could be too little too late by the time he's placed the OP and his teammates have spawned in. Jarvan inside the bunker, DO6 also inside the bunker to the left of the screen here. I hear more smoke grenades landing below us as Alex's squad do spawn in. Procage, Ultimate, Overblaze all running now towards the point, and they are capturing back here at Hill 5 as the allies slowly whittle down. Guerrilla tactics to the left of the screen as well as squad leader here for Goff moving into the point as DO6 dies to artillery, and that attack pretty much comes to an end. The 76 that was looking so promising couldn't make it work for them, just died in ignominy out here in the field to the right hand side, or should I say the north of Hill 5, as the heavy tank arrives again. And my game crashes. Perfect. Gotta love that. We will restart the main game here. Screw you, Team 17. Let's quickly get this restarted for you. Hopefully you can see at least the allied map here. And that will give you some idea of what's going on whilst I faff around with this stupid game. Gotta love Hell Let Loose. Absolute ace programming here. I've literally reinstalled Windows to stop this from happening. Still happens. Apparently the game's not even stopped yet. Still got to stop the game. But bear with us. You can see a precision strike coming down on the tank that was identified. I'd love to see that for you right now, but obviously send all your complaints to Team 17. Not my fault. Literally on a fresh Windows install, as I say. Nothing else running except Streamlabs. And still unable to run the game on a UFO level PC. Absolute trash. And you can hear how many times I've re-verified the game files by the fact that we've got the videos now playing. Absolute nightmare. Don't know if that precision strike was successful, but it could well have been. The Panther in the back of the point there at Hill 5 for Goff and Void, exactly in the same place as they got destroyed by the precision strike. Last time I'd love to have seen that, because it's an absolute rip when a team loses 2 tanks in the same fashion so quickly like that. Absolute nightmare. So let's get ourselves back in. We're loading into the server now. looking then at the Allied map, we can see that, if I just make sure we are looking at the Allied map, yep. Oh, you can hear we've got back in the game now. So, if I already a member, nice. Don't call me a penis. So, you can see on the Allied map then that they're still pushing hard up that ditch, as we're now back in the game here. Let's get both maps up whilst the Streamlabs recognises that we're back in the game. And you can see that the tank, oh, this is a Panzer IV, so maybe that other tank did die, or maybe it was a Panzer IV there the whole time. Who can possibly tell? Right, let's get rid of that. Let's get this back over to Hill 5. Okay, so Panzer IV behind the point here for Goff and Void. We've got Tort Reform trying to fix up another repair station to keep them in the game, as someone from over here firing shots like tank shells. Maybe an AT gun, maybe an enemy tank. Try and get our highlighting correct so we can see people. Hopefully that's correct now. Yep, and there they are, the 76. A little bit vulnerable, again on top of the hill here. Super obvious position, no cover, basically impossible to get out of the way, especially now they're tracked. Gonna go down. Unless they're very lucky here. Kill switch looking to get another satchel, and it's on actually. Let's just get away from it a little bit here, because some of these players are going to have to jump out and try and fix it, but Kill switch knows it. Going for a second 76 satchel here. Small amount of capture going on at Hill 5 there, but nowhere near enough. Clicker favourite and Victrix have absolutely no clue. It seems that they've got a satchel. Just about to take them out. We'll get Kill switch in the shot. Oh no, he's just outside the shot for his second satcheling of the game, potentially more, but second one captured on stream. Somebody clip that. Kill switch maybe the man of the match at this rate, although some of these defenders have played very well as well. We saw Ultimate playing well earlier. We've seen Overblaze play very well. Gorf as well, always up in the mix. Meme Star, shout out to Meme Star, because everyone always says shout out Meme Star. I think it's kind of a meme, but I'm a boomer, so I don't really even know what that means. But 82 AD just relentlessly struggling to throw themselves up this barbed wire infested hill, and an absolute nightmare for them here. 32 minutes left in this one, and looking over at their map, you can see their recon plane flying over the top. They've got CJ, Addy and Crowdog up in G3 on the tank. We'll go check that out in a sec, because that could be them sniping artillery. But actually, it's kind of not. It's kind of a really weird thing going on here, with the Lux just firing relentlessly into the front of the Stuart. Stuart technically should win this one, but not really sure what's going on here. The Lux are going to definitely die now. No way they can survive, surely. Another shot. Wow, they've literally survived 3 shots here. What the heck is going on? The Stuart sort of panicking a little bit. Shoots into the ground. They just need to sit still and just wait. They don't even need to fire while moving. I can't. How is this Lux surviving here? Ramari and Bibbo doing an absolute astounding job of staying alive here. They're going to get shot underneath now. That's another ricochet, is it? What the heck is happening here? Good grief. Some sort of weird mating ritual, looks like. And now, surely, what the hell? It's because it's like right in the front, but they've been shot in the side like 3 times as well, and they still haven't died. I don't understand how this Lux is still alive. Another ricochet here, and this is honestly embarrassing. It's kind of getting awkward at this point. I might just have to leave. Somebody shot the Stewart then, and I don't think it was the Lux. Good grief. The Panzer IV that's sitting for Goff and Void up on Hill 5 has been identified again now by a flare. The Lux not getting stuck in the trench, remarkable. I literally can't look away. Like I want to peel myself away, but this is like just too much. I'm just wondering if there's some kind of gun that the Lux can like reverse into the line of sight of. Let's have a look at their disposition. This is the Lux here in H3. No, the medium's facing the other way, so I honestly just don't know. I think the Lux obviously just reversing to try and keep that front armour facing the Stewart. But the Stewart's seemingly incapable of shooting them in the right spot. Another ricochet here, off the side this time. Literally astounding. I want to see the end of this. I can't kind of tear myself away, but at the same time, like, it's taking so goddamn long. Oh my god. This is awful. Gem coming to Gork. What the heck is happening here? Can hear the commotion probably. Just thinking what on earth is happening. I'm so torn. I want to go and look at something relevant to the game, but this is just so insane. Gem unable to do anything to this Lux. I don't know quite what the purpose there was of running up to it, smoking it. And a great smoke as well. It's actually stuck to the Lux. That's great stuff from Gem. Oh, they literally did it as well. The Lux reversed into a point where their medium tank could see that Stewart and take them out. That is awkward as hell. So the Lux somehow winning that one. What just happened? Bit speechless, to be honest. Right, let's look at the map here. So Allied map, 82 ID, fully spread all the way along item column, I line, excuse me, and they've got garrisons here in I3, I4, they've got one over here in I6, one in I7, and one in I8, completely dispersed all the way along the sand dunes, and they kind of have to be, and it's unfortunate for them. You know, you could say, well, Uncle Red's right down in the corner. They only really have to defend, you know, just to the west of it, just to the north of it. But realistically, if they're ever going to get around and flank, they're going to have to probably come from the north or come from the south. They can't allow themselves to get flanked out here on the sand dunes, because if they do end up in a situation where they have to respawn from the HQ, they'll have to run across the open beach, and that's an absolute death trap. There's no way, once you're in that situation, there's no way of coming back from it, really. So completely on the back foot here, having to disperse themselves completely along item column, or I column, I keep calling it item. And yeah, in a real pickle. Looking at both maps together, you can see that Goff and Void doing a decent job around Hill 5. They've not got a garrison up there. They've no longer got a tank up there. The medium that... wait, is it a medium? No, it's a heavy, has moved down. The medium that we saw might have actually been destroyed now, because I'm pretty sure there's a Panzer IV down there. That was who took out the Lux. But they don't have a garrison up there, but they've got garrisons to the south and to the north. And this is their push. This is where that difficult defence of having to have the whole of I column populated, or at least having people all the way up north, having people in the middle, having people down at Uncle Red, splits the 82 AD team, splits the Allies here into three. And if the Germans can split themselves effectively into two, both defence and attack. They can quite possibly overwhelm 82 AD with numbers here at Uncle Red, although it's not an easy push in down the street here. This garrison is in a good spot, but King OP was hot there for a moment. Looking at the 82 AD map, you can see Papa Squad here down in H8 is looking to get those shots on. This is a precision strike coming in over the top of the heavy tank, which does go down. You just saw it on the map here. So let's have a quick look at that. You can see the explosion just down below us. Good stuff there. Use of recon flares to identify where the tank was, and then the precision strike to take it out. Expensive in terms of munitions, the precision strike, not the first choice for taking out tanks, I would say. You want your tanks to be taking out the enemy tanks rather than using munitions on a precision strike, but certainly in the position like we saw earlier where the Panzer IV was hiding up on the or was it a Panther? I forget. Where the Goth and Void tank was hiding up behind Hill 5, and where their Panther was hiding in Win 7 earlier behind that little barn in the back garden to the south, where you can't get shots on them and they've just been sitting there for absolutely ages. Precision strike gets the job done 100%. Little White taking out this flank, it looks like, alone. And we've got Daashka, Knife, we've got Favourite over here. White just needs to keep pushing up and get inside the point. No use shooting from out here. Kind of pointless. Kills Favourite as he runs up, but identify the position. Kind of giving away the flank if you shoot from there. It's really not ideal. Managed to ping the OP though potentially, but Macbethad, Macbethad, getting the shots, and now can see as a squad leader as well, can put a marker, can see that flank. Pro Cage now in a difficult spot. You can see the garrison just there having to advance now into enemy fire. Victrix and Sir Lucky standing up on top of the dunes, also getting shots on them. Should have been way more coordinated with smokes out here if they wanted to make this push work, because you can see how much barbed wire they have to contend with, and where Macbeth is pushing through the gap in the fence here, that's really their only kind of way through, unless they get all the way round the back to where those tank traps are. And that's a fantastic shot to take out the garrison, and another rocket to finish it up, kills Iron Ranger. Good stuff from 82 AD. Strong defense here on the final point. Kill switch though, my absolute player of the game at this point, I think. Inside the enemy hard cap, sitting in the buildings. We've got Steve as well below him on the ground here, and just looking for that garrison. Now, so am I. I'm not going to ping it because I'm on their team, as it were, but we can see it on the Allied map in relation to that building, which is this one here. It's kind of just behind the barbed wire, so we'll go and have a little look for that. It should be just below us, basically. Oh, here, no, sorry, here's that building. And there is the garrison. Yep, there's the garrison. So, the building we were just looking at, excuse me for my error. So, the building we were looking at before with the broken roof is here, so kill switch wasn't inside the hard cap, because this is the building by the hard cap. Scipio dying on the point here. That's when you know it started to get real. Guerrilla tactics, we've got Pro Cage, Prankster from Goth all pushing up the main road. That flank though out to the south is done. Kit X is over there. Iron Ranger 2 with the machine guns covering a counter attack, but it's kind of over. They've really got to push the road or nothing here. As I nearly smack into a seagull. See the explosion of another tank over there to the north. I think that was an Axis tank getting destroyed up there. We'll nip over to Hill 5 and have a look what's going on, but I'm pretty sure that right now Goth and Void are looking fairly uncontested here at Hill 5, and if we get right up in the sky you can see just how far away these red dots are Craven and Bullet, they're looking to go out here to the north along with their recon squads and help hands to take out Thorpe and these other 82 AD players to the north. But it's like what we said earlier, you can see right now my camera with this kind of ripple thing around it is just above the garrison here. These kind of farm buildings down below us are these ones in G4. And everybody who's in this 4 square area, this sector, whether they're blue dots for us or they're red berries on the game screen, they're all in a position where they're not providing any kind of defensive or capping power at all. So from the point of view of Goff and Void, the Germans here, they'd ideally like to fall back into the defensive sector to some degree and fight the allies off, you know, kill them off while the allies are still in this area. But with the way the roads are and the cover and the edge of this field here, it does make it quite difficult to do that. And at a certain point they might just feel like they need to dedicate some players to go and take out the flank before it kind of gets so close as to be dangerous at Hill 5. But they do have a recon squad up here who could be hassling those players up here in H3. You can see as well 82 AD getting their heavy tank into H4 just over to the right, and that's got a marker on it now from the commander here for Goff. That would be Monarch. But a whole ton of these players spawning in and running north, which is it's working for them right now. Against a different team it might not work. Against a stronger team that might not be the play. But 82 AD very much on the back foot at the moment here. Still in a 4-1, 20 minutes left in the game, or 18, or well 19, but kind of really 17, because in warfare mode it takes 2 minutes to capture a point and there's no overtime. So if you're not capturing that middle point by the time the clock hits 2 minutes, you simply don't have enough time to capture it. We've had a few close calls so far in the HCA. I think we had one where I forget which team it was, where they started to capture it with like 2 minutes and 3 seconds remaining, something crazy like that. But unfortunately for them, it kind of then got contested and it didn't work out. But let's face it, at the moment it doesn't look like 82 AD are going to be anywhere near the middle point. They're still at 4-1. They have been for the majority of the game here, probably half an hour, maybe 40 minutes. I think it was about an hour remaining in the game when they captured Hill 5 here. Goff and Void captured Hill 5, and so pretty much 40 minutes, best part of 40 minutes, they've been sitting in a 4-1 situation, and they'd have to get all the way back, capture Hill 5, and then capture Hill 7 and be capturing Win 7, sorry, down on the south of that middle point. They'd have to be capturing that within that or before the last 2 minutes of the game to be able to stand any chance of winning it. But right now it's not looking like that's going to be even a consideration. Something just exploded below us. Don't know whose tank that was or what that was. Oh, it was the supply truck maybe. Oh no, it was a AT gun built by the Germans. I know there was a supply truck there, but I guess they took that out already. Who was that in the... Oh, Sir Lucky out in the broken building. I see a bunch of people have voted to see who's going to win this one. Hopefully the vote went in before it was, you know, quite as lopsided as it has been here. But as I said a moment ago, Goff and Void really looking pretty strong in this one, as 82 AD having to spawn a whole ton of people back to try and defend, still getting artillery, still struggling to stop players from pushing really close to their hard cap. The one thing that they've kind of got going for them to some degree here is when you look at the map, you can see that all of these Goff and Void players, you see Fox squad leader over here, so that's Myth down below us by this building just here, is outside. Myth's going to maybe have a big fight here with Victrix. Probably hear Victrix on the steps above, but maybe not. The audio is somewhat questionable at times. Senpu, Steve and Procage spawning in on Myth's OP, it looks like. Steve going to come up the stairs, can definitely hear that, surely. Nope. Oblivious. Gets shot in the back. Victrix coming down the stairs. Sempu died as well. Myth the only one now in contention, but goes down to Vitrix inside the building. Good plays from him, or them, excuse me. I don't know. Vitrix. Could be not a bloke. But force of numbers overwhelms him there, and Myth squad now well in charge of that building, getting shots out on the guys here at the bunker. Dashka trying to get shots on. Macbeth Head down already. Captain Black in a difficult spot as well, as the call for supplies goes out from Soap. Would be my first choice of location for a garrison, but what I was trying to say before I got so absorbed by this fighting down here is that the one thing that the Allies do have going for them is how Uncle Red is actually, like you can see, it's very far over into the I column here, which is kind of crap, you know, like, let's be honest, having the whole of J column be ocean absolutely sucks and is a very difficult and questionable decision from the devs, as my game crashes again. Literally remarkable. I don't know how it's so bad today. We're gonna have to probably reinstall Windows again. Just a nightmare. It pisses me off like beyond you can even imagine, because, well, it's yeah, just very, very frustrating and difficult for the stream. But you know, looking at that that 82 AD map, you can see, yeah, it sucks that it's on the right hand side of those 4 squares. You know, there's nothing they can do about that, but it is difficult. It's a difficult push here for the enemies to kind of get to them at Uncle Red. So if they do have good defense there, then it is, you know, there is something they can do. There is a possibility that they can kind of defend that. We'll get back into the game. I don't know, like I said, I don't know why it's so bad today. It's absolutely infuriating. So just bear with me, please. Please support the channel so I can, I don't know, get another new PC, because or like a new motherboard or something, if it's that, I don't know. Obviously I've not been assisted by Team 17 here, who are advertising themselves audibly, as you can hear, to fix it, but there's been some great people on the Hell Let Loose community Discord who have tried to help me literally for like hundreds of hours to fix problems like this, and all we could do in the end was reinstall Windows completely, and it's been okay for several weeks now, up until now, although it started to sort of slowly crash more and more again. So I don't know whether that's like a RAM thing, a motherboard thing, it's like, is it a hardware thing? Seems to be only Hell Let Loose, so is it a Hell Let Loose thing? My money's on yes, it's just a Hell Let Loose thing, because anyone who's played this game very much will know that it has its little quirks like that, let's call it, in the most diplomatic possible tone. Also get us signed back in. I really want to get over there at Uncle Red, because looking at their map, there's so many 82 AD players having to get back now, and such a short time left in the game, that I reckon this is a big push coming in from the Germans. There's even a heavy tank here with Terminator, Froggers and Ginger Scott. Right, from the sound you can hear we're back in the game, so let's get us back up in the sky and over Uncle Red. Apologies for the interruptions. As I say, there's very little I can do about it, but it does piss me off and embarrass me no end. You should probably hear from my tone of voice. Pretty exasperating. But we'll get back into the game. Again, slow to acknowledge that we're in it, but here we go. Yep, tons of 82 AD players got right the way back now in this final defense with just about 10 minutes left in the game. It's 11 on the clock. It's 9 in actuality because of that 2-minute situation I was talking about earlier. But 82 AD having to dedicate tanks to move up now. As you can see, a tank battle about to occur over on the flank here. 76 gets one on the side, but goes straight into the front of the Panzer IV. No problem for them. Panzer IV loses every day of the week to that. They might get themselves satcheled though, and it's another shot on the side as Tort Reform, who's got the mines loadout, is going for a bold play here. Unlikely to be successful there with the mine, indeed. But Sempu, on the other hand, Ginger Scott now out of the vehicle as Sempu puts another shot at the backside. Kitex might see Ginger. 76 goes down to Sempu. Good stuff from our erstwhile RT sniper. So Lucky and E-Venom moving up to kill Pro Cage and try and cut off this attack again on the flank here. Hill 5 is starting to be capped with only 9 minutes left in the game, and this is the bombing run now for the Allies as well over the point here at Hill 5. Somewhat successful, but they've still got a long way to go. They do have much better tank support now though, with the 76 actually pushing up with the infantry. That's what you like to see as Ultimate goes down to Ghost Recon on the point. They're over halfway capped just now on Hill 5. Goff and Void need to be very careful in this situation, and oftentimes a 4-1 is a telling score to be stuck at, because an over-enthusiastic team can push for the 5-0 even now in the last minutes and leave themselves open, and it looks like maybe, just maybe, that's what's happening here. And I suspect Gem will be looking to drop supplies as well any minute on his way to WN7. If we go over and look at their map real quick, you can see that Gem is up here in F6, and definitely, along with Major Mouse, definitely going to be looking, if they do capture Hill 5, to build that garrison very, very quickly and get people redeployed very fast onto the point. Great stuff here from 82 AD. 8.5 minutes left in the game. You can't write them off. Here comes the bombing run in defence now from the Germans. Goff and Void with the defensive bombing run as it flips. But it's unable to stop that cap, and it's still going, killed quite a few of the attackers there, but it's also left them in a situation where they now have no bombing run to defend WN7 if that does become a problem. And now let's look at the map, and you can see that yes, Gem has now called in the airhead, and that could be very, very significant. Let's look at both maps next to each other. Oh, excuse me. And you can see that a whole ton of players now redeploying at WN7, and they will very likely see this airhead. The airhead, maybe not the play I would have gone with. You can see it's literally going to be right on top of that and see it as soon as it comes down. Gem, though, I guess got held up here in the middle. You can see the garrison's hot, where we've got Profound. We've got somebody else who just died there, I guess, to Gem, spawning in around this garrison. So not easy necessarily to make the push from here either. I'm surprised that Nagat Squad weren't being able to be quicker with getting their support player up there, or a couple of support players to build a garrison. Maybe they'll do that now, who can tell. Gem looking very threatening still around this garrison, but goes down unfortunately, and not long left in the game here. And 82 AD with a great push to take back Hill 5. They've got tanks in the point there at Hill 5 now as well, and you can see that they're driving the supply truck here with Cannon Fodder Bob making a beeline for Hill 5. But what they really need is to be getting that garrison up on the Gat OP, and I can't believe it's not up yet. The airhead didn't stand a chance there and goes down. And Goth and Void, yeah, they may have overextended. They may have kind of screwed themselves out of a 4-1 here by overextending at Uncle Red and pushing too hard and not defending enough, but they're not going to make that mistake twice. WN7 very well defended again here, and you can see, if we go over the point here, that's the crossroads that you can see on the map here in like E7 with West Kataris Ranger. We've got Beef, we've got Prankster, we've got Athens Meme Star all around it. There's a recon tank there as well. If it holds still, I might be able to find the middle of my screen and actually see who's in it. It won't tell me until I'm real close, apparently. There we go. We've got Bebo, Omen of War and Romari in the recon tank. And then inside the point, we've got Killswitch, Cicatriz, we've got Gorf, we've got, who's this over here? Profound. These guys with the AT gun, did they just ricochet on the fence. Good grief. Okay. The AT gun, you can see the mark here on the fence in black, just ricocheted off the fence. Jarvin gonna get a kill on Profound, but no, Profound way quicker. I don't know, Jarvin could have naded that then, but Profound with the shot on the fence, and now it's the light tank, the recon tank, excuse me, who gets a ricochet off the fence and goes down in turn to Iron Rager with the rocket, or maybe it was the Greyhound there died to the Puma, I think actually. There is a heavy tank moving up. We've got 5 minutes left in the game, or more accurately speaking 3, as we've mentioned before. And now still going for this mad push over the open field. Completely just a nightmare push across this open field. Will it work for 82 AD? It needs to quickly, as the medium tank, I called it 76 before, but it's actually a medium 75 I see now, is moving in support of them up close to the point, but they have got a recon tank here with the Puma to contend with, and I don't know if they've seen where it is. The Puma's going to get a shot on them here, and it does some damage. Kill switch going for another satchel, but doesn't make it. I think it actually didn't do damage. That was a ricochet, and the Puma down inside the point to the medium. Sergeant Garand with one shot here on the medium 75. As German supplies fall onto WN7. They've already got a garrison there, but they're looking to maybe build something else, an AT gun or some kind of defense. There goes the other AT gun we were watching before. The 75 medium by itself now, unsupported by infantry because the infantry are all dead. It's completely surprising nobody out in that open field. Thorpe alone fought through again into an important position. Give this man abilities to build an OP, please. Thorpe squad leader when? But 82 AD here giving the gambling addicts in the chat here a run for their money on their channel points. 3 minutes 15 left in the game, and a whole ton of 82 AD players spawning in the one place that they have a chance to push through and take this point. They need to chill their boots with the tanks, keep them back so they don't get instantly destroyed, and they can actually support their infantry here, but they do have tanks in play. They've got the 76 moving up now through the barbed wire. If it just sits there in the barbed wire, there's very little that enemies can do against it, and another 76 back here as well. We've got a heavy tank now though in the Panther moving up for the Germans, and again this is where coordination is key for 82 AD. They have 30 seconds to start capping, and I don't think they're going to have enough time to get all those infantry across the street and into those trenches, but if they do, it could be a very, very difficult situation here for Goff and Void. 20 seconds left in the game. The OP is, or the garrison is down on the point. Item OP down now in the trenches. 82 AD, they need squad leaders alive inside the point now to help them push up. See, the tank's gone too far and getting shots on it, having to fall back. Kind of sketchy plays here. 3, 2, and they're not capping it yet. 2 minutes, and they almost had it 82 AD here, but with this number of Goff and Void players inside WN7, they've held onto this one by the skin of their teeth. They're contesting at Hill 5 now as well, I believe, but the big battle happened here at WN7 at the last, but you can see spawning way too far away here. The 82 AD guys all whittled away to nothing before they got to the point. Did not survive. The flankers over here where Thorpe moved up did not survive. That airhead just right on top of the Goff Void garrison. Too little, too late here then from 82 AD, and a close but convincing victory, I would say, here from Goff and Void against 82 AD on Utah Beach, with their only real dramas or difficulties being caused almost by themselves and getting maybe a little bit too greedy towards the end of the game there, thinking it was all over. You know, I'd almost started to say it was all over, but I've got nothing to lose by saying that. Whereas Goff and Void kind of pushed their guys up just really far on that final point over at Uncle Red, and it almost cost them the match, to be fair. And good stuff, responsive stuff here from 82AD. Gem trying his best there with the last minute airhead, but it's not enough. They couldn't get the supplies down over on that Nagat OP, and that will be it here for this dramatic end, let's say, to what seemed like a pretty convincing victory for Goff and Void. And they're going to be moving up in the table, I believe, because last week, as I said at the start, was their bye week, so this is only their 4th game, so they're very likely going to be moving up in the table. So GG, well played to all those involved. We'll have a look at the final scores here now for the 2 teams. And we can see that Monarch and Gem are the 2 respective commanders. I'll scroll through on the replay. Do pause to kind of see who you're interested in. But, you know, what an incredible defensive score here from Sikatrit's squad. As well from Gorf. Very, very high. Adam, I guess, was in the tank maybe before. Or firing rockets or something. But, God, an absolutely stonking score there. Stick the chat in emotes only so we can't get any spoilers, or no explicit ones anyway. Scrolling through, we'll scroll through now on 82AD before people start to leave. But as I say, do pause the cast if you want to have a look at anybody specifically. Ginger, Scotsman, Froggers and Terminator doing okay in the tank there as they start to leave. Some not too bad plays here, but I reckon probably Killswitch for me, man of the match here, level 317 Killswitch, absolutely smashing it with at least 2 tank satchels there, and a really, really high individual score, combat effectiveness score. Really good stuff, and spending a lot of time in defense and attack. That's as you can see, like 1300 or 1260 points, so really good stuff there. So drama there at the end. Let's get back into the studio, and I will kind of sign us off from this one, but thank you again for joining me here for another banging HCA game. I've lost my jacket. You can see that it was all a bit too dramatic there. My green screen's all messed up because I was getting all, you know, on edge and stuff. But yeah, crazy in the last few minutes, and really good to see. But thank you again for joining me. Thanks to all the people who followed. Thanks for the you know, any support that you want to give me, or put !fight, as I said before, in the chat to go and donate straight to Cancer Research UK, only if you have the money for either of those things. Like, I know it's really hard times right now. There's literally no pressure at all. You're very welcome to watch any of this for free. Like, of course, and it's not barely even for me to say, like, it's not me that arranges HCA. So massive thanks to the people that do, especially Ghosty, who puts in literally like endless amounts of work. I'm pretty sure like the main organizer at this point. Also, thank you to both teams, 82AD and Goff and Void, for playing today. GG, well played to both. Thank you all for joining me and watching. And if there's any other games that are still on, we'll try and raid them, but I suggest they might be all over by now because we're a little bit late starting this one, and a lot of other games also started at the same time. But do make sure and go and check out the VODs of a load of those other ones if you haven't had them open already. I know a ton of you will have been watching multiple live, but certainly go check out Known Connection or Das Outberg for that big game between Core and What the Hell. And yeah, there's tons of others. Check out the minors too, because there's some absolute bangers. There was a great game yesterday between G13 and IR. So yeah, go check those out. They'll be up either on people's YouTubes or on their VODs for, well, 2 weeks in the case of a VOD, and forever in the case of YouTube. People will be trying to get them up on YouTube eventually anyway as well. So yeah, go check those out. There's been ECL games as well. And then come back to my stream on Tuesday for Squad Line Battle, where we watch community squads kind of all mix up together and go head to head with random commanders, basically, for some kind of... Werner Voss, who organises it, doesn't like me saying this, but it's kind of the best description. it's like a pub game, but people know what they're doing because they're all from different squads from all over the Hell Let Loose community. And if not, then come check out me and Known Connection on Friday for the recapping, where we'll give you a summary of all of this weekend's results for ECL and HCA, tell you what they mean for the standings and the tables. And yeah, that's all it is from me tonight. I'm basically out of breath, I think. I need to go and get a drink. So have a good one for the rest of the week. To all my UK viewers, have a lovely bank holiday tomorrow, whatever you're doing, in honour of the old Queen's funeral. Yeah, see you soon. Take care, everybody. Goodbye. Thank you very much.